कोई और है क्लास में?
Okay, let's start, and we'll start with the basics first of ABAP. To understand ABAP, let's first look into any transaction like MM01. Now, what is MM01? This is material master, and how do we access it? We access it through materials management, purchasing, master data, and in master data, we have not in master data, sorry, in material master, MM01. Okay. T74 raw material. Mechanical engineering and ROH raw, select use. Even if you don't understand it, doesn't matter, but we'll just look into some areas. Sales org, general plant data, organization levels, AA42, storage location. Storage location. Sales org. Okay, we don't have any sales org right now. Enter. Base unit of measure is each material group TK raw, and 01 is business niche. Basic data. Now these fields, if we look at these fields, for example, base unit of measure, I press F1. Okay, and I have technical information. In technical information, I have the table name and the field name. Okay, this is important for ABAP. Okay, table name is Mara and mines. So let's complete these details first. Okay, PK raw, and let's save it. KP. So material was created. Now the table we discovered, SE11, was Mara, M-A-R-A, Mara display. Now, this table is about material data. And in this table, we have these many fields with their data types. Now, data types, what are data types? Like types that actually define what kind of data this field will represent and store. Like this is character, this is date, this is character again, this is time, and so on, string, integer, unit, and so on. Okay, so we have fields, we have data elements, and we'll see what are data elements in next lectures. So we actually use these tables to maintain ABAP code. Other let's explore another transaction, VF02. This is a billing document for sales. The previous transaction code was for material management. This is for sales and distribution module. Billing document. Now we have a billing document over here. I press F1. F1, technical information. And we have the table VBRK, field name is VBelen. VBelen, okay. So let's first explore billing document, enter. So we have details, okay. Each field is represented by a table, okay. And these are the details of the billing document, which has the material, description, and the rates. All these fields, for example, this value is coming from which field? It's coming from which table? Technical information. In technical information, we have VRBP and net WR, network. Okay. So VBRK and VBRP together, they actually become and form the basis for a billing document. The combination of VBRK and VBRP, for example, SE11, VBRK. So we actually drill down into table details, into fields, and see what kind of data types, fields are we looking at and what we are supposed to develop. Okay. Now this is a billing document header data. Now header data, what does it have? It has vendor name, date, invoice number, billing number, okay, like billing type, billing category, document category, sales or distribution channel. Now this is the billing header data. Even if you don't understand this at this point, doesn't matter. It's just an introduction to what SAP screens are actually made of, shipping conditions, okay. This is accounting document number and so on. Next we'll see is VBRP. VBRP is another table for item data. Now item data will have billing item, billing document reference, sales unit, unit of measure, okay, which is mines, and of course the value as well, mines and net worth. If you want to see search, okay, there's no search facility for this one, but net worth, if you want to net worth, okay, net value of the billing item in document currency. Okay, this is the field that we were looking at. The data type is currency, length is 15, decimal places is 2. In character field, we don't have decimal places, but the length can be different. Okay, so this is just a basic understanding of table and fields. So let's go and write our first program. Okay, ZT, any ABAP program that we customize starts with Z or Y. YT74. First, wrong 26th July. Create. Copy. Create. Executable program. Now, if we look at the options that we have executable that can be executed, include program that runs within a program. It's a program that runs in another program. Module, a module is basically a customized module in any module. Function, of course, you want to execute a function like very simple, like print or integration or workflow. That is a function. Subroutine, we will see till class. Okay, we'll all study this. So right now, executable. And for what application are we going to use it? For asset accounting, for customer, for financial accounting? I mean, there are various applications, okay, various users, okay? So let's just save it as simple as that. We'll local object. Now, what is a local object? Basically, a package. A package is what, where all your program logic, program code, program integrations, tables, fields are all packaged in one place and then transported to another instance of the server. So local object is not transported, it stays in this very server. Okay. So local object, if you look at it, we will write this program. Okay. Now this program, as simple as that, will just go one by one, line by line. Now, SE38 is where we will write our programs. So data, anything in blue is your key field. Okay, it's a keyword from SAP for ABAP syntax. So data here means that we are defining something. Now this something is what? It's a bucket. It's a vehicle. Okay, it's a carrier. Okay, it's a package, a packet. Okay, or a letter or a container. This is your bucket, your vehicle, your packet or your letter folder, which will only store data of type integer. Okay. Next is parameters, again blue. This is keyword from SAP for ABAP, and we are defining another packet or container or vehicle which will only carry data of type integer, and every syntax, when it is completed or written, it ends with a full stop. Okay, so we have two parameters, p field 1 and p field 2. Both will carry data of type integer, which is number. Okay, and now we will write a logic. We result p field 1, p field 2. What are we doing in this carrier, in this packet, in this vehicle, or in this car? Two passengers of type integer will travel and they will carry some data of integer type, and they will get multiplied, and then we'll write the result. Okay, we'll check it, activate. The server is slow anyways. Next part that we are going to see is, now these are the assignments that we will actually study in our course. Okay, and you will actually create this. Next part is data types and the architecture of SAP ABAP, how it is actually laid out. It's still processing, it's very slow. Anyways, work processes. Now we have different work processes that actually run in an ABAP architecture. Okay, this is the middleware where ABAP code, logic, work processes are actually activated and working. So the application server this is at the middle level. Under this is the database. The first is presentation layer, where users are actually working on SAP screens. The first front end part, the GUI part that we're looking at, which is this one, but this is again the program side, this is the middle layer. The front end was when we were creating material master. So in application layer, there is a dispatcher. Now dispatcher is again like a coordinator between the request generated from this place, from this user, and it is aligned sequentially and tokenized. The tokens are given to each request, and then those are passed to the work processes. The context over here, we'll see what is the context. Work process work on that request and send it back to the users. In shared memory, what do we have? We'll see that later on. So what kind of work process do we have? We have dialog requests, background draws, pull requests, route messages. We'll see each one by one. So ABAP dispatcher, as we saw earlier. Okay, now this is run. So ABAP dispatcher, it has the responsibility to process the request coming from the screens from the end users, and then it actually runs work processes of different nature like dialog, by background processes, log management, spool, update in the database. And there are various types of applications working along with ABAP dispatcher. Messaging server gateway, why do we use this? We'll see that. Internet communication, which is coming from the web, HTML. Okay. Objects activated and direct processing 408, which should be 3200. This is 3200. Okay. This is your first program, right? Okay. Let's move forward. Messaging server handles communication. As I told you, if you want to print a report or get a result, message server handles that. Gateway is basically integration between third-party systems, external systems. Internet communication is what you actually run on the web. You run SAP on the web. It could be for sales, for order booking, and so on. User context. Now, user context over here, this is the context we're talking about, this part. The user context is basically small memory allocated to contain characteristics of a user. Now, user is username, timestamp, number ranges, time and date format. It holds information like current settings, authorizations. Now, authorizations, what user can use and what a user cannot use, and what program the user is running right now. Okay. So dispatcher is basically working with SAP front end through the network, and the requests get collected. Okay. Those requests are basically then tokenized, given a token, and those are then passed on to work process, and they can be many work processes working simultaneously in parallel, and this is done automatically by ABAP dispatcher. Now, work process basically communicates with middle layer and the database layer, and there are tables, programs, screens, calendars, and it is actually working at a speed that we cannot imagine. So database layer is a central database. Okay. It contains data, but it also has customizing, like for each module, for finance, for material management, for HCM, and so on, and ABAP source code. So dispatcher, when it has work processes, it is working in parallel with the database, and in this buffer, all the work processes are actually collecting what job and task is being actually performed at the current time, and then it is then passed on to SAP front end. So ABAP program, ABAP consultant has to see, and the consultant has to synchronize the work processes, and this is where the ABAP consultant becomes very important. Okay, you have to develop programs, integration programs. Okay, and you have to connect systems. You have to design reports, you have to create modules, you have to create screens, and so on. Okay, so buffer helps to speed up processing of the request. Data is often read, but it is not changed, like customizing data, like configuration, like currencies, company codes. So it is actually kept in a buffer, okay, in the shared memory of the application server. So the application layer, the middle layer, the middleware is basically a communication interface where it is working with the database, and these are the tables with fields. So ABAP interpreter dispatcher basically works through OpenSQL or native SQL, and it connects with the database. And then there is a database interface which is communicating, or it is the face of the database, and it collects and updates data and connects with the ABAP dispatcher or interpreter. Okay. So ABAP programs are basically a part of client server architecture. It processes data, okay, it receives input and processes on that and sends it back to the presentation layer. I hope it was all clear for today.